The structure wasn't on any chart, and I only saw it because I drifted off position for a few seconds. I was working a routine inspection under an offshore platform in the Gulf of Mexico. Depth check, weld integrity, nothing complicated. We'd done this rig a dozen times. Same descent, same grid, same visibility. That morning, the water was clearer than usual. You don't question that, you just take advantage of it. I dropped down along the guideline, ran my checks along the lower struts, logged everything as normal. Then the current shifted, not strong, just enough to pull me slightly off the structure. I corrected for it, but not immediately, and in that gap, I saw it, not part of the rig, too far out, too straight, two vertical shapes rising from the seabed, parallel. Even at a distance I could tell, they weren't natural. I hovered there longer than I should have, because at first, it didn't make sense. There aren't formations like that out here, not at that depth, not that clean. I moved closer, slowly, didn't call it in, didn't log it, I just needed to see it clearly. As I got closer, the silt settled around the base, and the full shape came into view. It wasn't just two pillars, it was a frame, massive, rectangular, standing upright in the seabed like it had been placed there, like it had been built. I stopped about 10 meters away, not because I was scared, because something about the scale didn't feel right. It was too intact, no collapse, no erosion patterns that matched the surrounding seabed, just there, standing. I checked my depth, everything normal, pressure, air, comms, all fine, but the longer I looked at it, the more it felt like I was looking at something that shouldn't be exposed, like it had been buried once and wasn't supposed to be uncovered again. Status? Came through my comm. I didn't answer right away. I don't know why. I think I was trying to understand what I was seeing before I said it out loud. I'm off grid, I finally said. Drifted a bit. Stay on task, they replied. I didn't move, because something else had caught my attention. The center of the frame was darker than the water around it. Not shadow, not exactly, just less light, like the space inside the frame wasn't interacting with the water the same way. I adjusted my position slightly, and the darkness shifted, not with me, with itself. I felt a tightness in my chest, because that's when it stopped being a structure and started feeling like an opening. I should have turned back, but I didn't. I moved closer, 5 meters, then 3. The water around it felt still, not calm, still, like the current wasn't passing through that space. I reached out, not to touch it, just to gauge distance, and that's when I noticed the edges. They weren't smooth. Up close, they were carved, lines, symbols, not worn down, not broken, sharp, like they had been preserved or protected. I didn't recognize the markings, but they weren't random. They repeated, structured, intentional. Return to position, the comm said again. I ignored it, because something else had changed. The darkness inside the frame had deepened, not gradually, all at once, like something behind it had moved closer. I froze, didn't move, didn't breathe for a second, because I realized I wasn't just looking at it anymore. It felt like it was looking back, not watching, not aware, just aligned with me. I pulled back immediately, too fast, kicked up silt, lost visual for a second. When it cleared, the gate was still there, unchanged, but the darkness was gone, just open water behind it. I didn't go closer again, didn't try to confirm what I saw. I returned to the rig, finished the inspection, didn't mention it, not then, not in the report, because I couldn't explain it in a way that didn't sound like I'd misread something or imagined it. But that night, I couldn't stop thinking about it, not the structure, the way the space inside it had changed. I checked the dive logs, position data. I found the drift point, marked the coordinates. I shouldn't have, but I scheduled a follow-up dive. Different pretense, different task, same location. When I went back, the gate wasn't there. The seabed was flat, undisturbed, no pillars, no markings, nothing. I checked the coordinates again. Exact match. I expanded the search radius. Nothing. Just open sea floor. I told myself that was it, that I'd misjudged distance, seen part of the rig from a bad angle, something explainable, until the next dive. Different rig, different location, miles away, same depth range, same conditions. I was mid-inspection when I saw it again. Not directly, off to the side, at the edge of visibility. 2 vertical lines, perfectly parallel. I didn't turn toward it, didn't move closer. I just stayed where I was and waited. After a few seconds, it faded, not like something moving away, like something that stopped being visible once I didn't align with it anymore. That's when I understood. It's not fixed to one place. It doesn't stay where it's seen. It appears when you're positioned just right, and the closer you get, the more complete it becomes. I still dive, still do inspections, but I don't drift anymore. I don't follow currents, and I don't look when something off the grid starts to line up just a little too cleanly in the distance, because I don't think it's a structure on the ocean floor. I think it's something that only becomes a doorway when you stand in the exact place it needs you to finally see it as open. I didn't tell anyone. Not the supervisor, not the other divers, because there's a difference between reporting something unusual and introducing something that doesn't behave like anything we deal with. And I wasn't sure which one it was. For a while, it stayed at a distance. I'd catch it at the edge of visibility, never centered, never fully clear, just enough to recognize the shape before it faded again. Two vertical lines, always parallel, sometimes closer together, sometimes wider apart, like it was adjusting, not physically, but in how it appeared. I stopped looking directly. That helped. As long as I kept my focus on the work, on weld seams, pressure points, corrosion, it stayed peripheral, unresolved. But one dive, I slipped. Not physically, mentally. I let my attention drift, just for a second, and it aligned, fully, right in front of me, closer than it had ever been, not far out in the distance, right there, standing on the seabed, complete. I froze. Because this time, there was no mistaking it. The frame was intact, massive, carved in a way that didn't match anything natural or industrial, and the space inside it wasn't empty. It looked like water, but it wasn't moving. Not with the current, not with my motion, just still, like a surface pretending to be depth. I didn't move closer, didn't need to, because something else had changed. The scale, it felt larger now, not physically, but in how it related to everything around it. Like the rig behind me was smaller than it should have been. I checked my gauges. Everything read normal, depth unchanged, but the perspective was off. Like the space around the gate wasn't following the same proportions. I shifted slightly to the left, the frame distorted, not bent, just less complete. I shifted back. It corrected. Perfect again. That's when I understood the part I'd been missing. It doesn't just appear when you're aligned. It stabilizes when you are. And when it stabilizes, it becomes something else. Not a structure, a boundary. I held position too long. That's when the change happened. The stillness inside the frame moved, not outward, inward, like something had shifted deeper inside it. The surface darkened, not gradually, all at once. I felt it before I reacted. That same tightness in my chest, but stronger, because this time it didn't feel like I was looking at it. It felt like I was standing in the exact position it had been waiting for. I backed away immediately, hard, too fast, kicked up silt again, lost visual. When it cleared, the gate was gone, not faded, gone. The seabed, flat, normal. I didn't finish the inspection. Called it early, said I had equipment issues. No one questioned it. I stayed on deck the rest of the day, didn't look at the water, didn't review the footage, because I already knew what I'd see. Nothing. That's how it works. It doesn't leave anything behind. Not in the data, not in the environment, only in you, in how you remember it, in how you understand space after seeing it. I haven't had a full alignment like that since. Not complete. But I've come close. Too close. Moments where something in the distance almost resolves into those two lines, where the space between them starts to feel deeper than it should. I break it immediately. Turn, move, focus on anything else, because I don't think it needs much anymore. Not after being seen that clearly, not after I stood there long enough for it to stabilize. I don't think it's waiting everywhere, just in places where someone might drift a little too far off position and decide to look just a little longer than they should. I started checking my position more than usual after that, not just depth or distance from the rig, orientation, angle, where I was standing in the water relative to everything else. I'd pick reference points, cross beams, anchor lines, shadows, anything to keep myself from settling into one position for too long, because that's what I realized. It's not just where you are, it's how long you stay there. Most dives became mechanical after that, controlled, deliberate, no drifting, no pauses. If I stopped, it was only for a second, just enough to log something, then move. That worked, for a while, then one dive. I didn't notice it happening. That's what made it worse. There was no moment where I saw it, no clear shift, just a feeling that something had already aligned before I realized I'd stopped moving. I looked down, nothing. Seabed, sand, normal. But the feeling didn't go away. It stayed, like I was still in the right position, even though I couldn't see anything. I moved, slowly at first, then faster. The feeling followed, not exactly, just enough to stay present. That's when I understood something new. It doesn't need to be visible anymore, not completely. Once you've seen it enough, you don't need the full structure to recognize where it would be. Your body does it for you. I kept moving, changed direction, broke every reference line I had. Eventually, it faded, not instantly, gradually, like something losing stability without a fixed point to hold on to. I surfaced early, didn't log it, didn't mention it, because how do you explain something you didn't even see but still felt? That night, I checked the dive footage. I shouldn't have, but I needed to confirm one thing. The moment I stopped moving, I found it, frame by frame. There was nothing in front of me, no gate, no structure, just open water. But the way the shadows fell, the way the light cut across the seabed, for a single frame, it lined up perfectly. Two vertical shapes, barely there, not solid, just implied, then gone. I paused the frame, stared at it longer than I should have, because even incomplete, it was enough. I could feel it again, that alignment, that sense of depth where there shouldn't be any. I shut it off immediately. Didn't go back, didn't review anything else, because I finally understood the last part. It doesn't need to fully appear anymore. It just needs enough for you to recognize it. And once you do, you don't need to see it again. You already know where it would be. I still dive, but I don't stay still, not ever. And I don't review footage frame by frame anymore, because I know there's always a moment where it almost forms. And if you hold that frame just a little too long, you won't be looking at something incomplete anymore. You'll be giving it exactly what it needs to become something that doesn't disappear when you move out of position. I stopped trusting the idea of position, not the physical kind, the measurable kind, depth, distance, coordinates. Those don't matter the way I thought they did. I proved that on a dive that should have been impossible for it to happen. Shallow water, inspection near a coastal structure, barely 20 meters down. Too bright, too exposed, nothing like the deeper rigs. I went in expecting nothing. That's what made it worse, because I didn't guard against it, didn't watch my orientation, didn't track how long I was holding still. I just worked. And then I leaned slightly to the right, just to get a better angle on a weld seam, and something clicked, not in front of me, behind. I didn't turn. I didn't need to. I could feel it, that same alignment. But this time, it wasn't tied to what I was looking at. It was tied to how I was positioned in the water. Angle, posture, the way my body lined up with the structure around me. I adjusted slightly. It weakened, went back, it returned, stronger. That's when I understood. It doesn't need a location anymore. It needs a configuration, a way of standing, a way of occupying space that allows it to exist. I held that position for too long, not on purpose, just long enough to confirm it, and that was enough, because something appeared, not fully, but close enough, right at the edge of my vision, one vertical line, then a second, not solid, but present. I turned immediately, broke the posture, it vanished, but the feeling didn't. It stayed for a second longer than it should have, like it had already formed just enough to persist. I surfaced early again, didn't say anything, didn't need to, because I finally understood the progression. First, you need the place, then you need the alignment. Now, you only need the position, and eventually, I think you won't even need that. I think it will reach a point where it doesn't require anything external at all, where it can exist without being tied to space or observation or perspective. I don't know what that looks like, but I know it's getting closer because I've started noticing something else. Moments where I feel it without doing anything at all. No alignment, no posture, just stillness, brief, faint, but there, like something is already forming without needing me to help it along. I don't stay still anymore, not even on land, not for long, because I don't think it needs much now, just a moment, just enough time for something to settle into the right configuration and realize it doesn't need to disappear when you move out of it anymore. I started timing stillness, not dives, not tasks, just how long I stayed in one place, seconds. At first, it was nothing. You can stand still for a few seconds anywhere. No change, no shift, but I pushed it. 5 seconds, 10, 15, that's when it started. Not visibly, a pressure, subtle, like something settling into place around me. I moved immediately. It dropped. Gone. I tried again later. Different place, different time, same result. The longer I stayed still, the more something began to organize. Not the environment, the space itself, like it was finding a way to make sense of me being exactly where I was. I stopped testing after that, because I didn't need more confirmation. I already knew where it was going. It doesn't need structures anymore. It doesn't need alignment. It just needs stability, a fixed point, and that's something we create naturally. Every time we stop moving, every time we pause, every time we exist in one place long enough for something else to recognize that position as consistent. I've started noticing people do it, not intentionally, just standing, waiting, thinking. And every time I see it, I feel that same faint pressure, not coming from them, from the space around them, like it's beginning to settle. I don't watch long. I don't stay near it, because I don't know how much time it needs now. It used to take alignment, then position. Now, I think it just takes a moment of stillness that lasts a little too long. I don't sleep the same anymore. I wake up more often, not from noise, from the absence of movement, from realizing I've been still for too long. And in that moment, before I move, I can feel it, closer than it's ever been, not forming, already there, waiting for that final second where nothing changes long enough for it to stop needing anything at all. I don't let it get that far. I move, every time, break it, interrupt it, but I know I won't always catch it. There will be a moment where I hesitate, where I stay still just a fraction longer than I should, and that will be enough, because it doesn't need much anymore, just one stable point, one uninterrupted moment, to realize it doesn't need to disappear when we move, because we've already shown it how to exist without needing us to look at it at all. I tried to outrun it, not physically, structurally. I kept moving, changed environments constantly, open spaces, tight corridors, uneven ground, crowded areas, anything that wouldn't let me settle into one place long enough for it to stabilize. It worked, for a while. As long as I kept moving, there was always enough disruption to keep it from fully forming. But movement has a pattern too. That's what I didn't account for. Steps repeat, breathing evens out, your body finds rhythm even when you're trying not to, and rhythm is just another form of consistency. I noticed it when I was walking, not stopping, not pausing, just walking, and suddenly there was a moment where everything lined up without me meaning it to. Stride, posture, direction, all consistent for just a second, and in that second, I felt it again, stronger than before, not forming, present, like it didn't need the stillness anymore. Just enough repetition to lock into place. I broke stride immediately, changed pace, changed direction. It dropped, but not completely. That's what scared me. It didn't disappear the way it used to. It lingered, faint, like something that had already found a way to exist without needing perfect conditions. I stopped walking after that. Not entirely, just differently. No consistent pace, no repeated motion. Every step slightly off. It's exhausting. But it's the only thing that keeps it from settling, at least for now, because I don't think it needs much anymore. Not alignment, not stillness, not even position, just enough consistency in anything for it to recognize a pattern it can hold on to. And once it does, it doesn't need you to stay there. It remembers. That's the part I didn't understand before. It learns, not consciously, but structurally. Every time it forms, even partially, it becomes easier for it to form again, in less time, with less input, until eventually, it won't need anything at all. I don't know when that happens, but I know we're getting closer, because the gaps between moments are shrinking, the time it takes to feel it, shorter, the conditions it needs, fewer, and one day, there won't be a condition. There won't be a trigger. It will just be there, constant, stable, complete. And at that point, I don't think moving will matter, or stopping, or anything we do, because it won't be forming anymore. It will already have. I started noticing it without anything happening at all. No movement, no alignment, no stillness I could measure, just awareness. Moments where I knew, before anything changed, that it was already there, not forming, not building, present. I'd be sitting, shifting, moving my hands, adjusting my posture, and still feel it, faint but unmistakable, like something had already reached a point where it didn't need a trigger anymore. I tested it, not by staying still, by doing the opposite. Constant motion, hands moving, feet tapping, eyes shifting, breaking every pattern I could. It didn't matter. The feeling stayed, not strong, but stable. That's when I understood the last step. I started noticing it without anything happening at all. No movement, no alignment, no stillness I could measure, just awareness. Moments where I knew, before anything changed, that it was already there, not forming, not building, present. I'd be sitting, shifting, moving my hands, adjusting my posture, and still feel it, faint but unmistakable, like something had already reached a point where it didn't need a trigger anymore. I tested it, not by staying still, by doing the opposite. Constant motion, hands moving, feet tapping, eyes shifting, breaking every pattern I could. It didn't matter. The feeling stayed, not strong, but stable. That's when I understood the last step. It doesn't need conditions anymore. It doesn't need us to create the moment. We already did. Every time we aligned it, every time we recognized it, every time we held it long enough for it to become clearer, we gave it everything it needed. Now, it doesn't depend on us. It just exists. I don't try to interrupt it anymore. There's nothing left to interrupt. No moment before it starts. No point where you can stop it from forming. Because it's not forming. It's already complete. And I think it has been for longer than I realized. The stages, the progression, the feeling of it getting closer, that was just me catching up to it, understanding it in pieces until there were no pieces left. I still move, not to stop it, just because that's what you do. But it doesn't change anything now. There's no difference between motion and stillness. No difference between looking and not looking. It's all the same. I went back to diving once, just to be sure. Same conditions, same depth, and for a moment, I felt it immediately. No build-up, no alignment, just there, complete. I didn't look for it. I didn't have to, because I already knew exactly where it would be and exactly what it would look like. Even without seeing it, I surfaced early, not out of fear, because there was nothing left to confirm. That's the part no one tells you. There's no final moment, no reveal. Just the point where there's nothing left that feels unknown. And once everything is known, there's no reason left to question it, which is why no one else is talking about it. Not because they haven't seen it, because to them, there's nothing unusual about it anymore. It fits perfectly into everything, into every space, every moment, even this, even now. And if you're still reading and none of this feels wrong, then you've already reached the same point. You just haven't had a reason to notice it until now.